Hello everyone, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. Not your traditional football video, but it is important that men in particular talk about mental health. Of course, we do some fantastic stuff with the Newcastle United Foundation with their campaign Be a Game Changer, and today we're going to talk a little bit about why it's important if you are struggling or you know somebody who is struggling, because I think the hardest thing to do is to talk. So we're just going to ask the lads about a few different questions. We'll put some links. Please do check them out. If you do need some help, they are there to help you. We're not the experts. We're just here to try and relate to you a little bit towards that. Why do you think people struggle to open up about talking about mental health?
It's the hardest thing you can do, I think. Making that first step to open up and talk about it, it's always the big one, I think. The first step's always the biggest, it's always the hardest. There was a stigma around it. It's not so much now. Society in general, getting more and more open about mental health, but especially since lockdown, where it's such a huge issue, being cooped up in your own home for months on ends and whatnot. So the tide is turning slowly, but that first step to admit or to open up is always the biggest. And once you've on that, you're on the road to recovery.
How can people open up, Johnny? I know it's easier just saying, it's easy to do that, but it's not, is it?
It's not, of course, but everybody's different. So somebody might be able to open up to a friend, a relative. Some people might be able to open up to someone they've never met before because they might feel more comfortable because they don't know anything about them. So again, for anybody that's struggling, I would just say, just open up to somebody that you trust. I think that's probably the biggest word I can take from that, is just trusting somebody that, if you tell them something that you probably never told anybody before, that they're going to be able to help you. I think that's the biggest thing, is trusting and helping, because if you can do that, what is it they say, the problem halved is when you tell somebody. So
yeah, I think it does help. I mean, for me personally, I don't suffer any mental health issues, but my parents do. And for the first time on YouTube, you would have seen that as I opened up a little bit about it. And it was my hero, Les Ferdinand, who didn't mean to bring it out of us, but it helped me saying. And that was the first time on YouTube in 5 years that I admitted both my parents suffer from mental health, and it affected me as an individual moving around my family, living with different people as a youngster. And it goes to show you, like, strangers, or Johnny's right, it can be just something little, but Les Ferdinand made me talk about it, and that was quite a big thing for me. My sister was shocked. I was, wow, Lee, you've done well there, proud, because I keep everything in. And it can be just, Johnny is right, it can be just a stranger, it could be a hero, it could be your mate.
It doesn't have to be strictly Les Ferdinand.
It was for me.
Don't batter Les with emails and
Les, I love you.
It can be anyone.
But yes, it can, as Sam fixes his phone, that helped me open up, and not so much me, but I've experienced it in my life from people around me. So it might not be you who's suffering, it could be the person sitting next to you, it could be your mum, whoever it is. That is the biggest challenge for someone to open up 100%. But the next question I wanted to bring up is, why, Johnny, is it important to chat about it first of all?
I think if you keep it bottled in, only you know how you feel. But if you tell people how you feel, or you tell people that you're feeling a certain way, then they can help you. They can tell you to speak to the right people. I know people have had mental health issues in the past, and it's difficult at first because sometimes you don't expect it from people that you've probably talked to in the past. You think, I didn't expect him or didn't expect her to have mental health issues. But when they mention it, you go, all right, okay. What's best for you?
Do you think people are you've mentioned obviously earlier on, Sam, is that the stigma that goes with it? Do you think people are ashamed to come out first of all, but when they do, when they get past that barrier, it's a massive weight taken off, and they've got someone then to go to and talk to?
I wouldn't say ashamed, I would say more embarrassed, because they feel...
Some people may feel ashamed.
Possibly. From people that I've spoken to, I can only tell you from what experiences I've had with other people, is that people feel embarrassed because they feel like, what's the word, you're indestructible, aren't you? Everybody's indestructible until they say something. And I think they feel like, especially with men in particular, if you say that you've got something wrong, it's a weakness, and that stigma is...
Men can't be weak.
Exactly, and that stigma's I think slowly but surely is leaving blokes in particular, because everybody can have down days. I think all three of us have had down days over the years, over the last 10, 15 years in particular, because especially when you're growing up after, say, 16 or 18 and you're back opening the big wide world, you're going to get some difficult days, but it's how you recover from them. Now, sometimes it might take longer for other people to recover, but if you can get them with the right people, the experts who know how to deal with these sort of issues, then it will help in the long term.
Yeah, whether it be medication or whether it be just talking to someone. I mean, all right, for me personally, when I had a few issues a couple of years ago, the talking wasn't for me, but it was that big first step. So I was better off with medication. So that can help, but for other people I've known, that doesn't help, and the talking to people and seeing a counsellor or whoever helps 10 times what any medication could do. So there's help out there, and there's some fantastic people out there, and it's not a weakness at all.
Yeah, and it can affect anybody. You've seen celebrity lives. Some people even take their own lives because of things like trolls recently with Caroline Flack. It can affect anybody. It doesn't, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't choose.
Doesn't discriminate.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much. It can pick on anybody, and anybody can suffer from it, and it's right. Talk about it, all right. Obviously with big game change, which I want to bring up in a moment, especially with men in particular. I've already expressed briefly that obviously both my parents suffer from it, and both have gone through it. Theirs is quite severe. Theirs is schizophrenia. It's a lot of stuff like voices in the head, and as a child that was very, very tough for me and my sister growing up, because we were passed around. But thankfully, growing up in my teens and being an adult get me independence, I've never suffered from that. But that doesn't mean to say my daughter might not, or my girlfriend might not. Anybody can get it, and I think it's good that we do it as a group, that we talk about it, because some people might laugh at this, but some people might see us as role models in terms of football. We've had people in the past who have suffered mental health problems. Carl openly admitted it the other day with his video
Josh, yeah,
with
really
Josh,
good.
which is fantastic. See,
And
Carl,
Josh's story is fantastic as well. He's a walking illustration of just how good the Newcastle United Foundation is. So go and have a look, and it's inspirational. So
it is, and then the foundation, which leads me nicely on to why we are involved in it. Be a game changer, Johnny. Obviously, we've done a little bits and bobs. Obviously, the pandemic didn't help because we couldn't do much. But we've done a video. We're trying to help the foundation. They've just been back in touch with me personally, with the starter pack to help as well. We're doing a lot more stuff. But what can the foundation obviously be a game changer? And obviously they've tied in with Sunderland as well. So credit to Sunderland as well. What are they trying to achieve?
If they can help one person, I think you hear that expression all the time, but if you can help one person with anything that they're going, with any problems that they might have, then that's the job well done. That's the ultimate aim. But in a normal, I say normal because I don't think normal is the right word, but in an ideal world, you'd like to have nobody having mental health issues. But at the end of the day, I think if there are people struggling, then can you help them?
It's more common than what you think, isn't it?
Of course it is. Of course it is. Like I didn't know many people that did at all. Maybe the last couple of years, there was probably more people that have, like, just from my work in particular. I know people that are struggling just from my work. I know people like very good friends of mine as well. As there's a wasp in the way, and I know Lee's not the best with them.
I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, I'll carry on. No, in all seriousness.
in all seriousness, when he's fleeing from a wasp.
No.
I got stung 6 times as a kid. That's why I'm petrified.
Did you not learn after the first time?
No, because I stood at a wasp's nest by mistake and it wants your sugar. So yes, carry on, Johnny.
What's your sugar?
Get away.
We'll have to cut that bit.
Is it gone?
Right.
Yeah, so what we're saying. Yeah, I know people from work that have struggled with issues with mental health, and all you're there to do is to support them in any way possible. If you can support them by talking to them, if you support them by getting them to the right people, in touch with the right people, and do that. With the NUFC Foundation, football is so big, and especially Newcastle, it is their Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. As soon as you wake up, Newcastle United fans will look for Newcastle United news. So if the foundation can help in any way by bringing football into it or bringing Newcastle United into it, that could only be a positive in the future.
Spot on, and that's why we've got involved, and we were glad that we were seen as ambassadors for role models for the big game changer to raise the profile of it. We're delighted to be part of that. Obviously, Sam, we've done a video with a couple of videos now. They've been down at the radio station. Obviously, you've done a podcast with us. Didn't go too well because obviously the audio, but we're doing a lot more stuff with them. We've been to the stadium, me and Kyle, to talk about it. We've been to Man versus Fat. Me and Johnny have been there. So
Man v Fat was an eye-opener.
It was, wasn't it? Totally different, because people think that mental health is all about in here, but it's also about it's all about your physical appearance as well. Obviously, a lot of men, we chatted to them, Johnny, and we were up there, and a lot of them were very unhappy with the physical look. It actually affected their mental state, and we've seen some fantastic stories. I like the older guy.
Yeah, he was fantastic, and he talked about his personal issues. Like I don't know if you used to it, but I've had issues with my physical appearance in terms of weight issues, the way you look, because it gives you, if you've got, say for example, I was probably a lot heavier back in the day, and you just don't feel confident. You don't. If you're 19, 20, 21, and you're like, I was nearly 18 stone at one point, which for me is about, I think my BMI is about 4 or 5 stone more than it should be. So at that point you feel, oh my God, where's this come from? Step by step it does get better. I'm nowhere near the 18 stone mark as it is. I'm still not exactly perfect to where I want to be, but I'm in a lot better situation than I was 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But when I was speaking to some of the blokes at the Man v Fat, I totally understood where they were coming from, because you can be unhappy, but at least for them, they all had a common goal. They wanted to do something about it. They wanted to have an end goal. Now, losing weight and playing football for me is perfect. I love my football like you used to do. And if I had seen this 5 years ago when I was probably struggling in that sort of time in my life, then I would have been all over that, because at least I'd have had other people around me who were in the same boat. So I could only say about the Man v Fat is that if that can work for them, it might be able to work for you if you're struggling with that sort of side of it. But it just depends. It just depends on what it is.
It can also be the other way around. People with anorexia and stuff like that can be completely flipped around. With that, we're hoping to get somebody involved in another mental health video who's successfully came out of anorexia as well, local girl. So we'll get her to have a chat and open up as well. Were you going to point something out there? No, you weren't. You were just pointing at your phone, because I don't need your phone anymore.
Newcastle have signed who, Sam?
I wanted to bring up, obviously, made a great point there. Football, obviously, we love it. We're mad about it. We talk about it every single day. There's not one day us three didn't speak, and the rest of everybody else talk about football. That's a release, isn't it? You can use football as a massive advantage to talk.
It's what brings 50 odd thousand people together every other Saturday, doesn't it? So it's very inclusive, all encompassing. So I met you guys, and it's everything to some people, isn't it?
Has it helped you, Sam, since being here?
Yes. Yeah, no end. That's what it was about, getting confidence back, really. Taking that first step to come on the radio show, and having the guts to come and do that.
How did you feel going into that?
It's quite daunting when you ask somebody to get on camera.
Yeah.
Some people are like freeze. Some people take it like a duck takes it to water.
Yeah. I don't know, really. I've not sat down and thought about it too much, because I've been busy.
It is busy. Busy helps as well.
Yeah, it does.
Your mind off. If you're
it
just
does.
sitting at home, it'll play at you, and you can destroy you, can eat you as well. I'll give you an example with the stuff that I do. Is I get a lot of anxiety when it comes to actually getting videos out. That's the only ever time that I ever experienced it in my life, which is weird. So if we're at a game and a video isn't getting done or hasn't been done, it starts to eat at us, and it eats at us, and everything that I'm meant to be doing, whether I'm at work or if I'm travelling, my mind is on that video. It's weird how it takes over and it builds up and it takes over in my life, that I have to get on it once I'm at it. I can then relax. I start to unwind a little bit.
Mm.
So that's the only other time that I've only ever experienced, and that I didn't even know that was there. Did not even know that was in me, but it is there, and that's, who knows, that might pop up and it could be a serious problem. And I don't know. Like I say, mental health does not pick on people. It does pick on people, but that could come back around in 40-year time. Some major event might happen that might affect us. So what we're advising you is, obviously we're not experts, but there is links in the description. If you feel crap, whether it's mentally, physically, have a look at those links. Have a look at, it might not be you, it could be your mate sitting right next to you. Go and have a look, get involved with Be a Game Changer if you're into football and you're mad about football, because you all subscribe and watch this channel for one reason, because we share a common goal. Whether you like what happens at Newcastle United, it's a totally different story. But please go and help that out. We'll be doing probably once a month a mental health video. Thanks everyone, bye bye.